Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're doing encounter number 13 recap. So it's a little bit a week later than what it normally is because I was sick the previous week, and so there wasn't any session. I really debated back and forth whether or not to do it, and in the end I said voice was going, and I didn't want to spread whatever I had, so canceled the encounter. So we picked up. We were in Ann Arbor, big central hub of the north. Dwarves on the bottom. There's like a two-layer city. Dwarves are on like a sub-level, and then humans and elves and those kinds of things up top. Not saying that dwarves can't live up top, but big dwarven community on the underside of the city. So we did have 5 of our standard players. Once again, 2 of them were out due to personal family issues. Real life always comes first. And since we had a little shortage and another table wasn't running due to the DM being sick that week, we had Dayton once again at our table. He was the one that came, the young guy who helped us out a couple weeks back. So he came in around this time as well. And instead of being the mystical Torm warrior that was summoned by Pavik, he was a warrior of Torm that matched the same description of the entity that Pavik summoned a couple sessions back. But this time it was the physical person of it, and he couldn't. There was no recollection of him being there, although Dayton's character said, oh, I had a dream similar to that situation, but I don't recall a whole lot of it. So first, to start out with jumping into like the session itself, start out with a lot of shopping. You guys were in a big central town and lots of money, so everybody wanted to buy some items. I did say, you know what, basic magic items, you let me know what you're looking for. I can go ahead and get you a price on it. So simple, like +1 magic items, there was a lot of things that people were interested in. Simple one-handed was 500 gold. Simple two-handed, including ranged, was 750. Martial one-handed was 750, and martial two-handed was 1,000 gold. Shields were 750. Armor, I don't think anybody asked specifics on armor, so I didn't come up with any figures for that. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, let me know and we can work it out. From there, your next task was getting Broomy kitted up for combat because you thought, you know what, Broomy's a little interesting. She seems to be not too afraid for a 5-year-old and is willing to take some crack shots and those kinds of things. And also, Thessalon went to the Temple of the Traveler and found out that, hey, Broomy's an agent of chaos. They're not sure if Broomy knows that she's an agent of chaos or not, but wanting to play into that kind of, investigating, see what happened, you guys thought, let's get Broomy kitted out. So items I remember she has 2 daggers, an armor that you guys had custom made, some sort of, I don't remember if it was leather or studded leather, and then a light crossbow. The light crossbow, so like the mechanics with that, it was kind of, how does Broomy want to act with it? And then like the crossbow, it's not something that she can really do every round because she's a little girl. But we had some fun with it later on. From there, you guys wanted to investigate the golden goose chip that you found. And didn't take long to do that, honestly. You had to go to a couple gambling dens around there, and eventually you found somebody that wanted to talk to it or talk about it after warming them up with a bit of money and that kind of stuff there. So found out that it belongs to a gambling riverboat in Yartar, Yartar. It's a gambling riverboat named the Great Dame, Dame. It's owned by a noble, and it's kind of an exclusive club atmosphere. It's newer, but you couldn't really find out. That's about the gist of what you had. It's a gambling riverboat. There's not a whole lot to it, but that's what you guys discovered with that. From there, you went ahead and tried to find some work, mainly because Pavik wanted to get plate armor, I think it was, and he was ways off, so he was like, all right, let's start looking around and see what we can get from work. The armor smithies and the weaponsmiths, they had a lot of onesie-twosie small jobs, but nothing that would give more than like 20 gold throughout. They didn't have anything major. They did mention that the nearby Ukart tribes in the valley might have some sort of work. They're not sure if they pay money or not since it's a Ukart tribe, but they normally have some sort of work there. And then investigating around, asking around, there was rumors of magical armor lost someplace in the sewers. And you got a lot of different stories when you tried to pick out details on that there. So took a little bit of investigating, but eventually went back to the gambling den where you found out about the Great Dane. And the gentleman that told you about the Great Dane also said, you know what? We dropped Bill down in the sewers one day when he was drunk, and he started screaming, ranting, and raving about some sort of animated armor chasing him around. So they kind of pointed you out to where the sewer that they put the drunk guy down at, and they said from there they don't know what happened, but you can probably search around far enough, long enough, and see what you find. So that's where you guys went. From there into the sewers. It was interesting because I kind of set up a random, I don't want to say randomly generated, just a random map of, it was what, north and south, you go one way or another. I rolled to see how many events would occur or how many decisions we'd have to make between each. South was 7 decisions, north I think was 4. You guys actually opted for north. I don't recall the reasoning behind that, or I should say for me it was north. For you guys, because I'm facing the other way, it would have been south, but I didn't really label, but it was towards one way and the other. You get it. The odd thing is you guys didn't want to make the decisions, and instead you wanted Broomy to lead. And so that was kind of interesting because I didn't want to give you guys answers, but I really felt like you guys really wanted to pursue the Broomy aspect. So I tried my best to kind of play off this, not quite sure 5-year-old leading a campaign or expedition into sewers. But immediately going into it, there was a little rat that scurried around, and Broomy did a nice little ninja roll, shot the rat with a critical 20, and everybody thought that was some good fun there. But then she had to have somebody else reload her crossbow for her and those kinds of things there. Let's see here. Our first kind of encounter type deal. The sewers, the way it worked out is each square I drew some sort of decision point. We can go left, right, straight, little cracks and those kinds of things there. The map wasn't to scale. I just drew the decision points and like where interesting things happen. So that way I wasn't drawing big sprawling sewer underground map there. But the first kind of interesting thing is Gramak in the sewers was going with his javelin and just kind of making sure that the water didn't get too deep or anything like that, and also make sure that he didn't hit anything interesting that might be the armor that you guys are looking for. And you wound up hitting something that then obviously pulled on the javelin but let go and then looped back around. Couldn't find it. But then Pavic, I don't remember. Oh no, you guys wound up just saying, you know what, let's screw it. It's already moved on. And as you guys moved on, whatever it was attacked Pavic. And it turned out to be some sort of cross between an octopus and a shit monster, to put it nicely. I didn't expect this one to be a challenging fight at all, and it wasn't. I think it was a little bit more interesting to see your guys' tactics because, you guys were on a narrow, I don't know what they call it, like the little walkway on the side of the sewer, so you're not actually walking in the shit. You guys were on a narrow band as that, so you guys had to deal with marching order. And so it was kind of fun to see people do athletic checks to jump across both ways, and that worked out pretty well. It did hit Pavic once or twice, which surprised me considering he has an AC of, I think, 19. And at the end of the fight, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Don, or maybe it was Gramak/Mark. Somebody critted the octopus at the end, and so there's shitopus at the end, and so all sorts of nasty stuff went all over Gramak as it did its inking as it died away. And then almost pulled Pavic into the sewer. However, he was smart enough to let go of the octopus before it fell into the sludge. It really didn't pay off much, though, because a couple of decision points later, there was where a bridge there was it was a 3 decision area. You go north, south, or straight, and the straight was led to a narrow dry path, and so that's what you guys opted for. However, the walkway to get across was floating in the middle, or kind of half submerged in the middle of the intersection there, and so Pavik said screw it and jumped down and lifted the bridge up and held the bridge for everybody to walk across. So even though he got away from having the shitapus drag him into the muck, he jumped into it willingly. From there, heading down the dry path, it led you guys to kind of like this older circular area, and there was a kind of piecemeal rusted gate that you guys broke through. And that led to an area of 4 pieces, or 4 partially completed sets of armor hanging out in this kind of weird pentagonal room. And investing the gate in the armor led to Pavik getting cracked in the jaw by the armor, as all the armor started to animate to life and started attacking. This combat, I kind of themed, really this whole encounter or session, I kind of themed around switching out a character. Don, while he doesn't mind Vander, he wasn't quite thrilled with Vander's attitude in life, and didn't quite like the barbarian playstyle, so he wanted to sub in a different character. So I kind of did this around bringing him into play, the other character, since as an existing character, and we had some backstory that we could deal with there, which I'll get into that here in a minute. But the armor attacked everybody, and they thought they were going to be pretty good because, you know what, it's 4 pieces of armor, it's not a big deal. However, in this room there were 2 window type deals, grates, that then the gamblers that you met were shooting at you, and they were laughing at you guys like, haha, we tricked you guys into coming here, you guys are dumbasses, we're going to kill you and take all your stuff. Combat for the most part was pretty basic. There was a couple fun crit misses, those kinds of things there. But the star of the fight, though, it's kind of interesting because Don finally had a good night with Vander. He wound up doing some pretty awesome critical hits. One of them, so as soon as the fight started and those guys started shooting at people through the grates, he ran over to one of the grates. He grabbed the guy and he crit him and actually broke the grate off. And so he then dove into the little area where he was, absolutely slaughtered that guy, then ran across. After decapitating the guy and throwing the head at his other buddy, he then ran across to his buddy and wound up critting again. So once again, yanked the guy so hard in the bars that the bar broke, and he killed that guy there. And then during the end of that fight, this is where Don's character change came into play. Vander was killing this guy, and the new character came up and was actually ready to kill the same person. He had some sort of back way into the sewers, and it turned out that the 2 gamblers were actually were-rats, and the guy that was creeping up on him was there to hunt were-rats. And I don't want to get into background stuff that might reveal that with Don. I don't know how far his character wants to go into that, so I'm going to just leave that piece in the shadows there for the moment, and he can explain it later on if he wants. The bad part of this, I don't know if it's bad. The part that I didn't plan was loot. I normally try to plan loot ahead of time just so that way we don't get the what happened tonight, which was the random encounter or the random loot distribution table. I figured it'd be fun to do one, and then when we did it, I realized why I don't like doing them is because you guys got an absurd roll. I think it was like a 90, or no, it was like an 80 something on the loot table roll. And so we had all sorts of loot to look at, and you guys wound up getting like 300 copper, which granted, this is all split 6 ways, or there was like 300 copper and so much silver and gold, and all, it wound up flushing you guys back out after the money you just all spent, which is fine and dandy, I guess, realistically. The magic item you guys got were beads of force. I'll send those out with the recap email. So 7 beads of force. I think we were going to allow Dayton to take 1 back to his table. I don't recall the exacts on that decision there. But at the end of all this, Inigo, who is Don's replacement character, agreed that he wants to spend time with the party and travel with them, and Vander uh, no longer felt compelled to travel with the group and really wanted to go watch over the reconstruction of Nightstone, since that's your guys' investment. And so he was parting ways, and Inigo was going to take his place. Of course, Vander would remain the head of the company, and so you guys will still report to Vander, and he's still going to have his hands in your guys' doings, it sounds like. Next session, it sounds like you guys wanted to pursue heading to Eye of the Allfather, which is the oracle in the mountains there. So you're hoping to catch up to Moog and see what you can figure out there. So I will talk with you guys on Wednesday. Bye.